Hello and welcome to David Purpurra, who's joining us. He's running for a position on the West Lafayette School Corporation School Board, and we all want to give him a good welcome. And David, why don't you take a minute to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, so I am a Boilermaker. Went to college here. My family has lived here for the last 13 years. I'm a professor in human development and family science at Purdue, where I study how little kids learn math and learn how to read. I have four kids who are all in the West Lafayette schools. We're actually across all three schools right now. My twins are at the elementary school. One of my sons is in the intermediate school, and my oldest is in the junior senior high school. So we get to experience everything across all three schools this year. So it's been really exciting and busy year. I've been married to my wife for almost for 15 years now, and she's also a professor at Purdue. And so we've both been managing everything with our kids and with all of our work together. Um, I am pretty well involved in the community. I coach a lot of kids' sports. This is actually the first season that I'm not coaching any of my kids' teams for a while. So it's kind of nice just to take a step back and enjoy getting to watch all of their games. Um, I've coached soccer and baseball and basketball before. I'm president of the West Lafayette Parks and Rec Board, and I previously ran the Vote Yes campaign for the recent West Lafayette schools referendum that was passed with over 80% of the voters voting in favor of it. Um, I grew up in Boston. I'm a big Red Sox fan. Our dog is named Teddy Ballgame, and I'm also a big Purdue fan. And I'm just really excited to be getting more involved in the community, running for school board, and getting to know all of my neighbors.
So I have a question for you. What do you see the role of the school board as in managing the school corporation? How does the school board relate to the administration, the parents, the students?
Yeah, I think that this is a complex question, but I think at the heart of it, really the school board is working in collaboration with everyone else, working in collaboration with the administration, working in collaboration with the parents and the teachers and the broader community to make sure that we have the best educational opportunities for our kids and for all of our kids. Yes, part of the role of the school board is to oversee the superintendent. That is part of the role, but it's not to be an adversarial relationship. It's not to be overly overly connected, but it's to work in collaboration with that person and the rest of the administrators to make sure that we're providing the opportunities that we need. One of the things that's really important to me in my role at Purdue, I run a large research center. I manage a large number of state, federal, and foundation grants, and I can't be doing everything on all of those projects. I have to delegate. I have to work with people to help them find their roles, for them to do what they need to do to make the project successful, and empower them to be able to really succeed in their roles. And I see that as the role of the superintendent, to keep people accountable in their positions, but also to enable them to do their roles and be successful at it. Because when they're successful, we're successful. And so I see that as really the biggest role of the school board. Also, one of the other roles is to set an established policy, which can be really complex with different rules and regulations coming down from the state and needing to be changed at different times. But we need to keep in mind that as we're developing these policies and refining our policies, that they're going to work in the way that they're intended to work and not create additional barriers for families to access the resources that they need.
You. The next question I have for you is a fill in the blank question. The public schools are blank.
A critical foundation for our community. Everything in our community is really founded on having and maintaining excellent public schools. I can't emphasize enough how important schools are to the broader infrastructure of a community. People move to specific communities because of those schools. Our kids that we educate, as they complete their time in our schools, they move on. Many move away for other opportunities, but many stay in our community and then then work in our community, become leaders in our community. And so our schools are really that core infrastructure that we're building the future of our community. And so it has to be a central focal point for us in all of our efforts.
Thank you. School boards seem to have become a forum for hot button social issues, which are often fed from outside organizations. How would you ensure that the concerns of local constituents are heard over those outside voices?
Yeah, I think that's a really challenging um, uh, process to work with, but it really is foundational to making sure that the voices within our community are heard. I think that there are a lot of opportunities. Our schools have been doing better reaching out to our specific community to get feedback and ideas on how to make our schools better, what families need in terms of resources and supports, and bringing in community members to serve on in various roles on boards. I think one of the key things that our schools are going through right now is we're initiating a strategic planning process. And I think that's going to set the foundation for where our schools go over the next 5 to 10 years. And that has to be done in a way that really brings in our local community. I think that there should be community forums. I think that there should be a very intentional effort to make sure that community members whose voices typically aren't heard are brought into those forums and into other methods of making sure that their input is heard and valued. But it's not just during that strategic planning process. It's also throughout the implementation of the process. We need to make sure that we are intentionally reaching out, having our doors open, but also really working to connect to the broad spectrum of our local community.
Thank you. Really quick last question, even though it would take much time to answer it completely. School finances are really complex with the silos and the different pots of funding and with the state regulations. So have you done anything to learn about school finance? And are you prepared on day one to begin crafting a budget?
One of the great things about a school board is you bring together a lot of people with different expertise. I do have a fair amount of experience managing large budgets. I've managed or currently managing around $12 million in federal, and foundation grants for my projects, and know how complex that process can be. Having served as co-chair of the Vote Yes for the referendum committee, I had some opportunities to learn about how those funds can and can't be spent, and how we have to work with our long-term projections for our schools. Fortunately, we do have a really excellent administrative staff who understands that well. I will have some work, as will any of the other candidates, to get up to speed exactly on the finances. But it's something that I do look forward to doing, and working in collaboration with the school administration to make sure that we can think through the budget and how we can work to further maximize our budget in ways that support our schools.
You. Are there any issues that you would like to bring up before we conclude our interview?
Yeah, I think that there are a couple really big things that our schools are venturing towards in the near future. We're starting the pre-K, the preschool pilot classroom, or actually, we've already started that now. And it's been up and running for about a month, and I've heard it's going really well. That's right now a pilot program. And the complexities of taking that from a pilot and expanding it to a larger program and making it more sustainable rely on understanding how our state pre-K system works, how it works in conjunction with our standard K-12 system. I've done a lot of work both in the research and practice and policy sides through my position at Purdue on understanding how to maximize and best implement pre-K programs. So that's something that I hope to bring to the board and to the school administration to continue working to make sure that this program is a real strong foundational program for our community.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Purpurra. We've enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you for having me.